there's so many. That's yeah. Yep.
Right, okay. How's the audio online? Thumbs up if you can hear me online. There we go. Thank you, Anders. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Graduate Student Council of Brown, GSC's general body meeting for March. As always, stacked agenda. The link you would have got to is departmental reps. Please make sure you go on and share this with your department as well. If there's any need, just type in the chat and we can link you in as well. So, just procedural moments, as always, remember that only departmental reps can vote. If you're in the room, raise your hand or shout aye, whatever we want. And if you are online, it's raising your hand as well. We count them as well and are tallied. So first of all, can I have a motion to open the meeting? Firsted. Second to that motion. All those approved? Yeah, brilliant. All those opposed? Why are you here? And then abstentions. Okay. Next procedure. Can I have a motion to open? Is there anything for the open floor that we need to add to the end of the meeting? If there's anything, let us know. Anything online. Also, if there's anything from out during the semester, during the meeting, just let us know and we can add it on at the end always. Second, can I have a motion to approve the February GSC GBN minutes? First, seconded. All those that approve the minutes. They're very good minutes. Those that oppose the minutes. Those that are abstaining from it. Fantastic. Okay. So some updates from the President and Vice President we've got here. So that's me and Josephine, the two Joes, you may want to call us. So the first one, SAO. So SAO is the Student Affairs Office. It has historically primarily been only an undergraduate facing organization. They have rehired a specific liaison. He's called Andrew Hollis, Hollis, who has started today. He was taking over from Ray Soul, who worked last semester to build out the provisions and sort of guidelines for student organizations here on campus. We have been liaising with the presidents of the recognized groups and other affinity centers as well. And we know that there are several key problems, mainly in terms of the policies being very heavily linked towards and focused on undergraduates and their specifics of socializing. We're also facing this issue as a council, which is very, 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 very annoying, but we are going to be working it out over the course of this semester. What that means to you is that hopefully in the next month, if not 2 or 3, there will be a clear guidebook for graduate student organizations. So this will affect any of the recognized groups of the GSC organizers in how they can use space and create community events here on campus. This will probably entail making one event compulsory with SAO, so you learn how to do a budget or how to do basic things but it's all paperwork. We are going to try and make sure it is as equitable and as representational of the needs for graduate students, so it's not inhibited as that has been in the past. If any of you are part of specific affinity groups or clubs or societies that have had issues with the GSC, email me. The more information we have about SAO and where we need to improve, how we can improve our working relationship, if we know, then we can take it to them. We've currently slated a meeting with Eric Estes for next week where this will be brought up, as well as also the president of SAO, Joey Steele. It is all a process. We're going to try and get as much out of it as we can so that then it means that you all can come to the Graduate Student Lounge, book for $1, and actually create community events in this wondrous space that we have. Abdullah today, we had a walkthrough of the space to update with the fire marshal. So it's something like 25 people set up like it is today. 100 if everything's pushed out. That's all going to be on our website as well at some point. So when you do use a space, if there's any questions, if you're wanting to book the space, as always, you email Abdullah. If there's any questions or concerns about SAO, whether it's experiences with SAO staff, with ESS, the security they provide, we need to know. If there are issues, we need to know, because if we don't know, we cannot advocate and improve for you. Second one, there's had a lot of emails. Sorry, any questions about SAO, or is that pretty clear that we're, starting the machines warm? Graduation roads, they are expensive. In particular for the master's students, and the amount of money that you all pay to be here, it's a bit much. So we've been talking with Alicia Lapola about this, because last year there was a fund. They don't quite know where they're getting their money from. However, any master's student who is in need and cannot finds it financially too much of a burden to rent their robes or to buy their robes, first of all, you make sure that you email your dean, which is Alicia Lapola. After that, you also need to talk to your departmental manager. PhDs in this position, generally speaking, there should be some sort of discretionary fund within your department to cover rental of gowns, even if you're doing your transitional masters or if you're doing your PhD. The most important thing is to talk to your department manager, talk to your DGS, talk to the department head. This has been an issue for years, and we're going to keep on trying, but they're not going to change their prices. But the more people that go and say, well, this is too expensive, then they might change. If there's anyone who's in absolute dire need, again, reach out to the GSC and we will try and advocate and get something sorted. 3.3, increase student activity from the corporation and admin. So each semester, this semester, everyone's charged $75 as part of their student activity recreation fee. $40 of that comes directly to the GSC. That's where the funding comes from for socials, community events, professional development, pizza. The corporation, which is the governing body of Brown, met 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and have increased it by $5 on their end. So that means it's going to be $80 per semester. That $40 that doesn't come to the GSC is what's used to fund the gyms, the transportation around Brown as well. And because of the pilot program that the GSC actually started 4 years ago and continued until last year, all classes for grad students, so classes at the Nelson, are free. I don't go to them. I'm obviously in great physical health. But the main thing is get more and more people to go. The more people that go, we can actually then reduce down this fee, hopefully at some point. However, it's going to stand at $80. The GSC has no intention of increasing our price for hopefully for a long while. This is the first year we've increased to $40 for us. So until we can prove that there's an absolute need, we're not increasing. So hopefully it should stay at 80 for a while. This will also then feed into what Farha is going to present after us about the transport. We understand that transport is a little bit inadequate for graduate students around campus, in particular the shuttles. Farha has taken point for the GSC and is on PTAC, which is the Public Transportation Action Force. And we're trying to sit there and increase, in particular, the availability and regularity of the shuttles down to Ship Street to make sure people can get home safe, trying to get public health back on the goddamn map, and also potentially looking at increasing sort of the range of the shuttles to maybe going up Hope Street as well, so several more people are coming out. So we had over, which we'll in a second, but we did have a fantastic turnout for the survey, and that's what we're going to be doing with them. Doctoral educational plan. So the recommendations that the graduates will receive from the task force on doctoral education are now going to be sort of taken to the faculty to improve. So this is again making sure that you're aware that there could be in your department soon the implementation of bi-directional feedback, which is not just the professors telling you what you're doing right and wrong, but you also feeding back to the department how it is to work with certain professors, what areas they could improve on, what diversity and inclusion looks like for them as well. Campus life update. The main thing about campus life is that obviously there is the change in the fees, but then also we are still waiting on a meeting with Eric Estes. So if there are any problems that you as a graduate having to deal with your department or your faculty, the actual building itself, you need to let us know, so then we can take it too, because the more information, the better. And the 3 point, and before we go on, are there any questions or concerns about the 3 things I just covered? They're quite big. So I'm just lecturing at you. 3.6, elections will be held in April for the full semester. So there's going to be 4 positions open. This is because I am stepping down because I am graduating. So I can't really be president of the graduate council if I'm not a graduate student. This term will be limited until December. Usually the executive officers, apart from technology and masters, are for a 1-year term. The links are here for the descriptions of the role, and you can also sign up. The idea is to please sign up before the next GBM. Our 2 fantastic social chairs are also stepping down as they focus on their PhDs. The social chair is a specific role here at the GSC. If you want to apply by yourself, you can. But if you and a friend want to do it together, you can also can. It's the only one that we actually are able to split the entire time. Then we have the master's advocate who's going to medical school and leaving, and chair of technology, you're just up for election, unfortunately. So if there's any interest in any of those, please reach out to the corresponding officers or even to me, and make sure you're registered with your email. The amount of times I've had people say, like, I'm interested, you need an email. You need to put on an email on that form and please be present. Ideally in person, but if you don't feel like coming in person, the elections will be the first thing we do in April. So be here for hustings. You will be expected to give a pitch about what you'll bring to the role, why people should vote for you, and then we vote. Any questions? And then moving on to.
Yes, thank you. Just a quick update. I want to let you guys know about, based on some grad student feedback and concerns, we're currently working with OIED and the grad school trying to discuss improvements in DIAP, so the diversity and inclusion action plans, DIAP development. So things like having more grad student involvement or having more support for graduate students throughout their entire time at Brown, and also facilitating cross-departmental development and conversations, which can really help those small programs, like if they don't even have a really good DIAP developed. So basically, just want to give you an update on that. And if you have any comments or questions or concerns related to DIAP or DEI in general, please reach out to me. So that would be the GSC VP admin email right here. Oops. Yeah, right there. So please contact me. Thank you.
And just to add to that, so Brown is going to be moving into phase 3 and phase 4 of its DIAP. And a huge part of that doctoral task force at the grad school, and Tal Lewis presented on last semester, is making sure that not just the faculty is diverse in terms of ethnicity, but also socioeconomic background. It's important that we are active in this, and we are taking an active role, and a lot more than our Ivy peers as well. But if there's any specifics that you think we are, the university is failing by, Josephine is your person to come through, because it's her role. Super. So we're going to move on to the transportation survey results. So this is obviously coming from the initiative within the graduate school, as well as our own advocacy to improve transport access and links here at the university. They said Farha has done a fantastic job, so a round of applause for Farha, on creating the survey that's been sent out, and we had over 300 responses, and she's going to walk you through the main findings now.
Thank you. All right, as Rachel mentioned, so probably got multiple emails from us about the survey and getting to the survey. One of the reasons that we did the survey was to really figure out where our advocacy effort should be, just to see where are the problems, what we can do, what is feasible. So that was basically the survey. Thank you everyone for forwarding it to your department and filling it out, and then really for your availability, because that's what we need.
Next.
All right, so as I said, the goal was to understand and advocate for graduate student transportation needs. So there are a few things I wanted to first mention before we go over the survey. So one thing, we're still collecting the survey. So whatever I'm showing you is not the final result, but it is what we have gotten so far. And the reason I want to share with you because you guys are leaders on your own areas. And you guys, a lot of you are in a lot of leadership positions. So please advocate for all these survey results. So I will have the link on the agenda, on the minutes when we send it out. Advocate for it, be aware of it. Any chance you see that you can kind of advocate or talk about the issues, go for it. So that's really the expectation of one of the main reasons I want to share it, just so you can use your own network. And then the more people come and say that I need these things done, the better. Also, we're going to share it with, as Joe mentioned, the PTAC, which is working in transportation committee. And one of the good things about it is that a lot of different departments. So we have people from SAS, Student Accessibility Services, we have people from sustainability services, financial services. So one of the good ways to lead with a lot of leadership that way, and then kind of hopefully make some direct changes based on their needs. We're also going to share it with the graduate school as well to see what we can do as grad school to improve these transportation issues with students. And then you're also going to work with exactly what everyone has been working at. And then we also want to work specifically on transport. Join the comm committee. Just pitching it in there. So the survey was anonymous. We did not collect any email or any other information. And then it was formatted into 3 sections. So we have transportation at Brown. So basically Majestic, we'll go through it together. But we did have 332 participants already. Given $3,000 total population around for graduate school, right? It's 10%. That's why I feel a little comfortable presenting it, because I think we have a good sample numbers, just bringing in math here. But if any one of the applied matters stats, don't look at my stats. All right, so this is basically a general usage survey. So the first one is just the percent population using each of the transport. So now if you can see from here, the y-axis here is the total population. 94% of us walks, basically, in general. RIPTA, shuttle, personal car came out around 50% of us. And then there are a good amount of people who are using MBT and Amtrak as well. So 51% total people are using all of these transportation. And second thing is the primary methods of transportation. So most of the people are either walking, using your personal car, or using RIPTA. So this is the safety. So first thing we wanted to assess together is how safe do we feel about each transportation. The shuttle services seemed very safe so far, but there's a caveat to it that we're going to go next. Walking, RIPTA, cars seem mostly safe. So here the green is like safe, very safe. Blue is neutral. Red and orange is not good. And if you look at bike and scooter safety, red and orange, not good. So you go back. One thing we wanted to do is talk about public safety to increase safety for bikes and scooters and some others. All right, so of course, you're looking at bikes and scooters. We want to say, okay, do you find parking for your bike or scooters? Thank you. Can I go sit there? Would that work? Animation. I don't know why I did that, but that was giving me trouble. For some being so patient. All right. Can everyone hear me okay? Do you guys have any questions? Please feel free to stop me if you are. All right. So parking, if you look at the bike racks, over 50% of the students are struggling with finding a safe bike rack. If you look at the answer, so we asked how many times are you struggling in general? Some people said we never struggle because we can't park because it is not safe. And good thing about collecting where you work. So we did collect data on where exactly your primary work locations are. So we were able to tag those responses out that people said these are unsafe, or we couldn't find a parking, or we couldn't find a parking or bike rack, or couldn't find indoor parking. We were able to kind of point those out
And these are the top few buildings we got that multiple people responded that these buildings are not safe for parking. There is no bike rack. So these are some of the recommendations we're going to directly give the public safety as well as the PTAC that we need bike racks in this building. Parking on campus. So now same thing after bike, we just asked us, how do you struggle or do you struggle at parking? I do. I don't know anyone who drives do. And we do see that over 77% of grad students say they struggle to find parking majority of the time. And not only that, it's very expensive. So here, if you look at the data, over 50% of the students are paying over $100 per month. Per year for parking. We shouldn't be paying $100 to $1,500 for parking. That's just ridiculous. So it's not only that we can't find parking, we're also struggling. And that's something we wanted to work with, as Joe mentioned multiple times throughout. Now we have data to back it up that we need more cheaper parking, reserved parking, so we don't have to go around look for it. And we want accessible parking lots as well, so we can easily park near our work, not our parking location be the same distance from our work, that is our house. Now, shuttle services, something we wanted to look at shuttle, because when we were discussing the shuttle services at PTAC, they were mentioning that not a lot of students are using shuttles, which is not true, because they did not a lot of faculties were using shuttles, probably a lot of med school students are not, but graduate students we have majority for us, if you can see from here, are actually using shuttles. So we just wanted to show that data to them, like, hey, we need much better shuttle system because we are using it. But it's not frequent. Most people say it's not frequent and they will use it if it was more frequent and more faster. And like Joe mentioned multiple times as well, more people, over 80% of the students, they will use shuttle, or they'll be more reliable if it ran every 15 minutes until 11 p.m. because we don't always have 9 to 5 work. Some people do work late, and that'll be easier or more accessible for graduate students if we can take the parking shuttle there. Overall transportation, also mind-boggling how much money we need to spend for monthly parking and transportation in general. And I really like the bell curve. Not happy with it, but but most of us are almost satisfied, but not very satisfied with the brown transportation. So we also asked you guys what would be some new shuttle stops. So these are some of the shuttle stop area that was floating around. Huge majority. I think at least 50 people said that they would benefit from a shuttle up and down Polk Street, Welland Square, and Federal Hill, Fox Point, some of the other areas will turn around as well. We will try to convince the shuttle either have on-call shuttle or have a really rerouting of the shuttle, because now we have enough people that will use it. Few initiatives we can roll out from our side. I think we asked that it would be helpful to have a GS travel listserv. So specifically listserv that you can post if you're going to New York, or if you need a ride to Logan Airport, and if you're going, anyone going. So you can either subscribe to the listserv that might be coming. We're going to work with tech to create that list. So that way it doesn't have to be normal GSB. There was a talk about shared Google Calendar. We're still brainstorming the privacy issue as well as a Slack channel. So better it's including that. There are a few initiatives that we also thrown out to for the shuttle. So one of the bigger problem with shuttle we found was extremely long wait time. They don't some people say they don't even know it went to their area. So there's not really a lot of advertisement about their shuttle, about the shuttle routes. And weekend and daytime availability of the shuttles were big issues. Also, there are some other issues, but something we also want to say, there has been reported racism and discrimination in the shuttle services that were posted. If you do see, or if you have been targeted, racially profiled.
Yes, unfortunately it is anonymous, but there's been several on the response. So if you've unfortunately experienced it, or if it's anyone that you know or have heard of, testimonials directly to the GSC president. We are taking it straight to Eric Estes on Wednesday. We're gonna start that.
Yes, and we're definitely reporting it because there are multiple people who reported racism in shuttle that is not acceptable at all. And some of the other words throwing out like be respectful poster. People are loud or loud on the bus or other stuff, so you can figure it out. Have some nice posters out there. And also something I also personally struggled with as well, that accessibility shuttle. They're not visible and they don't exist, and they don't know what to do with grad students if you need a ride to and from your lab or work. They're okay with giving you ride to classes, but not more than that. So that's something we can work with. Desiree, who came to talk with us couple of months ago, I think back in October, November, she is on the committee, PTAC committee. So we're gonna ask her that this is directly your area. Can we have SAS services for students, SAS shuttle for students that doesn't only run 9 to 5 in campus, but it also goes around where the normal shuttle would go. Parking, of course, very expensive. Another idea that was thrown around, we'll try to roll it out, a graduate student parking lot, like a faculty parking lot. I don't know how Brown is going to take about that, but hey, if we can have a grad student parking lot, we should. Also, a lot of the other issues were TAs who are teaching classes. If you're on main campus, parking is not free before 10 a.m., but you have a 9 a.m. class, maybe they can give you a special 2-hour parking pass for the remainder of this time. And there were some parking lots, department-specific issues, as well as opening up. So we're gonna try to see if we can jump into some of the faculties. So the faculties have 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Parking limit in a lot of these areas. Students are not allowed in them. So we're gonna see if we can snatch some of those as well. Because we are workers, we work 9 to 5 a lot, so they should treat us with respect. We worked 80+ hours, so we deserve it. Same as SAS, and then there were some also some advice about or some concerns about specific parking stop signs or having a crosswalks, which we can also relate to the public service, public safety offices. Same as having more streetlights on campus, and we can work on these because also, as I say, the PTAC also have a government liaison who works directly with City Hall, so we can bring those up that can go directly to the Providence Public Safety, Providence Police or their transportation office, so we can get some of these rolling. Same RIPTA, not on time. We do have a lot of students who travel back and forth with MBTA passes, so it'd be nice to, I think PTAC also trying to roll out that having an MBTA and Amtrak pass subsidized for graduate students as well as faculties. So we'll see how that gets rolled out. That also we mentioned multiple times. People also wanted more collaboration with Brown and RISD as well as Brown and RIPTA. Same as SAS shuttles, and then these safer bike lanes were also thrown out. Some removal of old bikes that has been there forever, but no one is using it. We do have a map of where student lives in Providence. So the red one is where people are more concentrated. I'm not going to go too much detail into that, but that's very helpful when you're looking at, we're going to work with grad school on kind of like figuring out where students live and then maybe use us as a case to get a better transportation system, because most of us do live close by. A lot of data here, but I'm going to point to the first one. If you just look at it, most people who took the survey were a master's student. Most of us live in Massachusetts, in Rhode Island. I'm from Massachusetts. I'm saying in my state. Don't hold that against me. I still love Rhode Island. Just how far people live. Can you live far? So that's something that was also very much hurtful to see was 40% of the students say they live far from campus because they can't afford living close, and that is causing them a very inconvenient commute. That is also not, and I know 40% sounds like it's almost half the people they're living far because of they can't afford the Quasar because it's like $3,000 to get a room. So that's something we can roll out. There is a real need here. People are almost half the people are always stressed about commute logistic, and commute is causing financial burden. Now we have data, and hopefully we can show these out to grad school and then get some of these system rolling. I think that was the end of it. Do you guys have any question or any suggestions? I know that was a lot to take in. I'll link it out, but I'd love to see what you guys think or anything that spoke to you.
So Farah is going to resend that link because it's open until March 10th. If you have not done it, do it. Encourage your department to do it. It's important. And just to reiterate, as what we were talking about SAO and any problems with ESS, the security they provide, if there is anything on campus that you have experienced in terms of prejudice, on racial, on any sort of lines, if you feel comfortable, email me. If you don't feel comfortable emailing me, email somebody on the exec that you're comfortable with. If it's not the case, please come with a friend and talk to you about it. It's our job to make sure that Brown maintains a healthy, respectable environment for everyone here. So we are going to escalate this forward, and we'll get back to you over next steps.
Yeah, I was wondering, thank you for reviewing this survey. I was wondering, is this a lot of asks for the administration? And wondering, I think the like priority points that we want to raise is urban working for them. They can't possibly address everything at this point. So we want really wondering there are priority areas that you are thinking.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
So the question was about what are the priority points that we're going to be taking into like the negotiations and continue work on PTAC, because it is a lot and the information is good, but the grad school likes information like this. So the primary focus, first of all, is going to be making sure that the university shuttles are working for everybody and for graduate students. This also comes out of complaints we've had from, or concerns from our colleagues at the undergraduate council that the Ship Street stops at 7:30 and people still working there as undergrads. That's number one. Number two is in terms of trying to see if we can pilot some sort of program of better facilitation of parking on campus. And then sort of a long-term goal is potentially seeing, especially people who are cross-listing or cross-working in Harvard, which is also one of our sister institutions, or if they have labs up in Boston, to see if we can roll out some sort of subsidized transport fee for them. So it's sort of first is like easy gains in terms of better security, better lighting, and making the shuttle actually work before then seeing what we can do. We've also got to recognize that Brown is Brown and it can't do everything, but trying to do that. So in particular, like a real big thing is getting public health back on it, especially like, you know, public health is massively growing. There's a huge amount of masters there. It's, you know, and if you look at the maps, it's not difficult. It's not difficult just to stop by public health. So that's sort of the main priority, is sort of like easy, get a victory, well done us. And then we go to like the big wishes of free parking for all. So that's what we're going to do. Any calls for any more? Fantastic. So now we move on to noms.
Hello. So nominations, we have like a couple of things. So most of them commencement. So the first one, commencement speakers. You can access the link through the minute or like this agenda, or with a bunch of emails as far as sent out twice a week or something. I'm sure everyone get that. Please apply. The deadline is this Saturday, March 4th. The deadline is 11:59 p.m. So if you apply, then the interview will be mid-March, and then we'll pick 2 finalists that gonna give like a 5-minute speech at the general body meeting in April, and then all the departments that will pick the final person that can speak at the commencement. Then commencement awards, there are 2 of them. So this you submit through U Funds, and first is Wilson I don't know how to pronounce that,
Deploy.
deploy. So that is for a staff member that make an impact to our students. But the other one is that one is for also a staff member, not faculty, staff member that have like outstanding contributions to master students. So that deadline is March 17 through youth fund. The deadline March 17, 11:55 p.m. So don't wait until last minute. I don't know why they said that. It's not 59, 55 p.m. So submit it before that. And then can you move that a little? Great. Thank you. So recognized groups. If you're part of the recognized groups through GSE, I sent out email like 2 weeks ago or 3 to the contact person. If you're part of that organized group and you did the recognized group and you did not get an email from me, can you send me an email or talk to me after? That means like the contact information that I have is not up to date. You can I would love to change that. So we're trying to get all the information on our GSC website up to date, and then so right now just like the name of the group and then like contact information. We try to have like a description, so anyone who go to the GSC website and want to be a part of it can look through your website or like just like a paragraph of like description of that contact anyone in the group. And that's it for me. Any questions about any commencement speakers? No. Thank you.
Treasurer.
Hi, everyone. I just had some updates on the funds. The conference travel fund, we just closed the application 2 days ago, and we have 127 applications this time. So we will do the scoring this week, and we will announce the decision. And I think Wednesday next week, basically in a week. Yeah, so we will have another round of applications in April. That is for the summer travel. So if you have a project or a conference in the end of May, beginning of summer, you don't know, and you like missed the window now, you still just email me, and you probably will be able to apply for the summer. We don't know how many students are going to apply. This is our trial semester when we have 2 rounds of applications. So it's still kind of more flexible. One question, one request. When you apply for conference travel fund, it is up to $300. Please don't request $700 $2,000 from us. We can only give you $300 up to, and yeah, the unfortunately that's all we can do, and sometimes it's confusing when I see these numbers in the application form. Okay, international travel, international events funding. We have 3 applications. They all received funding. The funding for internal events is up to $400. It's like all funding at Brown works on reimbursement basis. That's actually applies to the conference travel fund. We're going to be sending out results next week, and if you get the funding or applicants who did get the funding, they should remember that it's a reimbursement-based funding, so you have to spend the money first, and then Brown is going to reimburse your money. And that means that you will have to provide the receipts. Receipts for the hotel, for your plane tickets, and so on. Or if you go somewhere and you spend it on food, collect receipts. Otherwise, it will be harder to do. And usually, your department administrator or manager should know how to do that. We don't do. I get a lot of questions on asking me about the paperwork or about reimbursements. We don't do that. we cannot do that. I don't know how it's legally.
It's your office manager, so it's exactly the same as like the graduate travel fund, any travel fund through Brown. You go to your office manager with your receipts, proof of email from the lovely Sophia,
Yeah,
and Sophia gives your office manager the relevant tax information, then you get your money back.
yeah, so basically, except for the recognized groups funding, it's kind of like exclusion of this situation because that's the groups usually have their own SAO account, and that's the only basically time when it's just transferred directly to their SAO account. Otherwise, it's all based on reimbursement. Yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Oh yeah, for the recognized groups so far we had 4 applications. It's up to $500, and we still accepting applications and encouraging you to apply. Yeah, that's it. So sure.
So if you're group thinking to apply to get recognized by GSC, you apply to GSC nominations. You don't have to do anything with SAO. So once you get approved by us, then we'll send your information to SAO and then you get your account. So you don't have to do both, because I know sometimes you read through the website, it's kind of confusing that you have to do both. So just do GSC nominations and that's it. Thank you.
Hello, and research on news. So one thing we're doing right now is having a once a month trivia at Narragansett. We are partnered up. Got our first one this Monday. It went really well. Everyone got their puzzles right, etc. So what you have to do is follow our Instagram or our Facebook to get info on when that's happening. Because it is a smaller invite event. You gotta sign up. And awesome. And then we are still planning a field day in collaboration with our student life chair, and the spring formal will be in May, and there will be a graduation champagne toast.
And while we've had a lot of fun serving you guys, we are stepping down, but feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about the position, you're interested, et cetera, et cetera. Thanks.
International. Our international, question?
I know a lot of.
To the list, sir.
We'll post it to the listener. We'll put it to the listener, right?
And we are just like starting with one community table because we were testing it out, but we might try to build out and see if we can get 2 so we can have more teams, but it was just like the first trial run we needed to. Yeah.
So for the international, our international officer is traveling in the air right now. So they had the tax webinar last week for international graduate students, which had a CPA funded by OISSS, which is the Office for International Student and Scholar Services for internationals or Americans. We had over 100 in live attendance, which is an excellent turnout. There is a link on this form here, 8.1.3, for those who want to register to talk individually with the CPA, which is a certified personal accountant. Yeah, let's go with that. This is obviously like the international taxation is now soon like that. I've been here 6 years and still don't understand it. So if you have internationals in your department, please forward them this message so they can link up. The first one, Night at the Globe, was a success. That was a craft night. There is a second one already linked, slated for March 17th at 6:30, potentially at the Global Brown Lounge, which is going to be a DIY dinner, which is going to be a kid-friendly event. So also if you, especially if you know any international friends with children, tell them to come along. There is going to be an international festival on April 9th. The theme is yet to be decided. It needs graduate URMs to host booths. So if you're interested, reach out to Ramisa. Ramisa here, something like profile here, yeah. And if you're interested, reach out there. And it's also need graduate performance. Ramisa did a storytelling last year, so it's definitely doable and a ton of fun. You could do interpretive dance. You could scream for half an hour. You could do whatever you want as long as it's international and a graduate student. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Student life. So any questions for international? Sorry.
All right, quick updates for me. Like the social chair has mentioned, the spring wellness days and the works. One of the things that we're going to try and do is get a bunch of departments relating to health and wellness to join. CAPS has been sort of leading the charge on that, but some of the other ones that we're interested in having are Be Well, Health Services, SAS, etc. If you guys have ideas for departments that might want to have something like a little tent where they help put some games and just make the graduate student population really aware of their presence, that would be great. The next thing is the STEAM room is now at the point where we have sent out the application for proposals. If you have an art piece that you'd like to submit for the STEAM room, which should be in April, please fill out the form. It can be a 2D piece, a 3D piece, or even some sort of a performance if you're interested. And then finally, the spring beach Latin night is this Friday. So come by here at 7 p.m. for a free class. And then starting at 8, there will just be social dancing until the end of the night. Hope to see you there.
Okay, hello. So as Joe mentioned earlier, I will be stepping down at the end of the semester because I will be going to medical school starting later this fall. So if you're interested in my position, please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I also highly recommend that you show up to our first master's committee meeting this Friday. So if you're interested in joining and you aren't on the committee, just email me and I will send you the details. But in terms of events, I have a social coming up. I still need to confirm with SEO, but it's going to tentatively be March 23rd from 7 to 9 p.m. I already have the GCB booked. It's going to be really fun. And it will be 2 free drink tickets for the first 75 people, I believe. So hope to see some other students there. And I have a bunch of other events that I'm working on with SPS. Just can't talk about them quite yet, but stay tuned. And then so updates from SPS. Again, as Joe mentioned earlier, with commencement regalia, if you're a master's student, please email Alicia LaPaula and just tell her what's going on. We don't know what to do yet, but it's something that is on the forefront of our minds. Continuing to talk with her about how we can best address this, because we worked hard for your degree and you deserve to be along that stage. So just email her, and if you can just get numbers, I think that would help a lot. And if you remember, Master Student Experience Survey went out a while ago. It closed back in January, I think. They've been analyzing the results, and I was told that they would have them done by yesterday, which basically means next week. Because everything's always delayed. Hey, I will be contacting Alicia about that and hopefully have some interesting data, especially on food insecurity and just the needs of graduate student parents. So I will try to report back what I can. Alicia did give me the caveat that if there is a sample size of less than 5 for any of the responses, then she won't be able to share that data with me. But she did say with a 40% response rate, which is pretty good. And then just a few things I didn't get to put on here. But for orientation, I just wanted to share with y'all that it's being reworked in a positive way for master's students, at least. For example, if you remember, they spent like 2 hours going over every fine detail of the student handbook. And instead, they're going to shift that for master's students to an online module. We'll still address it during orientation, but it will be more brief. And they're gonna try and use that time for more meaningful conversation and interaction. For example, giving practical guidance about where to get, who to talk to for food insecurity, or like how to get involved in research on campus, that type of stuff. And also just helping people socialize with each other. And then they're working on a pre-orientation portal with a checklist right now for incoming students. So that's very exciting. And it's going to be different for international students versus domestic students. And then also in line with communication, they're exploring a master's student like events calendar, like a master calendar. And we're looking into a separate like master's category under Today at Brown. Don't know when that's going to materialize, but it's being actively explored. But they are trying to create a master's student Slack right now, and I was told it's going to launch in April, so stay tuned. And that is all I have. Is there any other questions?
All right. Few updates. So I wanted to print out the poster, my printer completely broke, so I only have one copy. But both the research poster will be here tomorrow, because once it fixes it, will print 50 copies. So I'll leave it in the previous one right over there if you wanna just grab one. I know some students ask for physical copies, as well as we'll bring some in the next GBM. So when I say the copy, so this is the poster we make, they kind of like list all the different things we have at Brown, so kind of like right there in front of you if you need to contact any of the facilities or resources. And along with Abdullah made a really good pantry poster. If you guys didn't know, free food right there. Or good food right there. So we'll post this printed out, we will print it out, and then we'll have that stacked over there, right over there for us to take, post wherever you can in the department, share with your program. Hygiene product, so big win of the hygiene product related initiatives that GSC and UCS, the Undergraduate Student Council, was taking. Brown just applied for added budget to get the hygiene product in both gendered and non-gendered restroom. The budget has been submitted, so hopefully they'll be able to cover every single campus restrooms instead of just a few ones that they told us the map for. And so some people asked about the map, so the map is linked there if you want to go there. And then I also linked out how to submit the zone based request for not only this hygiene product, anything from the window, the wipes or alcohol swabs, anything that will be there. And then I think some of us had a good conversation about how the current hygiene product like the pads they're providing or so this is the list of this links goes to we ask the facilities and then these are the products they're now getting for the restrooms. So just click on them, and if you have any feedback, just get back to me. If this is a product, this is that product, if you're okay with it, we can go on. Communication wise, were you guys had any good luck or bad luck sharing the posters with your GTSs? Any resistance? Is that a no, did not share, no, did not, no resistance, or no, what are you talking about? Teresa. Ooh. So we posted on the website. What? You know, Edmonds. Anything else? Any resistance? All shared. Perfect. I know I sent a big email just last week since you all are here. Was it too big? Were you guys able to share it? If we do something like that, like twice a month, would that be okay? Or do you guys want specific email, like for each event? Just feeling it.
Specifics helpful, yeah.
Specific is helpful. And multiple email is okay, you don't put me on spam. Or.
Good spam, good spam. Good spam, important spam. Protein-rich spam.
All right, specific email it is. Anyone not agreed with the specific, can I take a vote for that?
No. No.
All right, specific emails.
Okay, so I've been working with King and Farha to update the website along with all the internal groups and the committees. And we're still working on the list and gathering data about it. And when I asked the ID surveys what we can do about individual websites, they just redirected us to Google websites, which anyone can make basically. So we're still working on it. We're trying to get you guys better resources in that terms, but no response from their side yet. And apart from that, if you guys want to advertise any of your events or anything else on our GSE website page or on our Instagram, you can send the event description as well as the poster to me. And since I am a grad student as well, please give me 24 hours to make that change. And that's about it from my side.
Fantastic. And with that as well, like if there's certain things that you are unsure about disseminating also on the listserv, you can refer to Farha as well. But also remember, be kind. We are grad students, at least 24 hours. Okay. So we're going to go into open floor parts here. 13.1. Aisha Loba, who put that on?
Wait, if Isha, are you here? He is not, so I put an open book. Wait, is he here? No, right? Can you click on the poster?
And see if he's in Zoom. No.
All right, so if you guys remember when CAPS came in a few months back in October, I believe, or November, they were very interested in making workshops for graduate students and like a workshop as well as more of a group study or group project. So one of the things they're doing, Asher was working with them to see if we can do, because CAPS does a lot of grad specific things. We don't really have a lot of grad specific workshops. So Asher has been working with the CAPS to kind of like roll out the initiative of having multiple graduate student specific workshops throughout the semester. And the first one is actually coming up in 2 weeks on Wednesday, March 15th. And then it will be about building and maintaining interpersonal relationship. I will send out the listserv tomorrow. And if you guys don't mind, first example of specific email, you can share it with the department as well. I think if we can show that if this is something that's helpful, please also provide feedback because this is going to be the first time we're doing it. Maybe Asher and then CAPS will be doing it. So provide feedback, email us out if you like it or not, and how we feel like it. And we should have more events like that.
Super. Final part of the open floor is from our colleagues over at Glow. So as I'm sure you're aware, Glow is doing their bargaining for the new contract right now. Their president, Shrina Rizik, has sent over the pledge. If you can just click on the pledge. It's basically just sets out in a clear, nice infographic over what their key concerns are, their key bargaining area. If you are so inclined, signing and giving your name to it gives extra credence, extra weight to their work. Also, at least I would recommend sharing this with people in your department. This is obviously reminding that obviously all PhDs are covered under the bargaining unit. That's the contract that they win, is the contract you get. We are very much two separate and distinct entities, but recognizing that the the invaluable work they do on the contracts is here to just disseminate information so that you are aware of what your union is doing. Any questions? Well, reach out to either your departmental rep, who's part of the union, or your coordinator, I think it's called, or even just email the president through their own website, and that's Glow Providence. It is they're doing a very, very good job. This is the information, and they're also looking for sign up to specific committees as well within their own areas. Okay, is there anything else open for, anything that we've covered, any questions or debate points that anyone wants to bring up? Anyone online? Well, someone drinking a drink was a question, but it's not. Then can I have a motion to close the meeting? Second. Those are for closing the meeting. All those that want to stay longer by opposing. Those who are undecided and still want to just have a bit more pizza are now abstaining. Fantastic, thank you so much. So just as a reminder, next month is going to be the elections and we have some speakers coming in as well. So it will be a wee bit longer than usual, so brace yourselves. Please encourage people to sign up at the positions, enjoy yourselves, be safe. And again, if there are any incidences we talked about with ESS, with transport or anything like that, of any form of discrimination, let us know. Have a good evening, everybody. Stay warm and safe. Goodbye.
I mean, I.
I just want to